So since it's Labor Day, and that's the unofficial end to summer, I wanted to kind of squeeze a little bit more summer out of life and with my message today. And so I decided that today we're going to talk about a Disney World. Disney World. I was at my mom's in Seattle, and we were going through some old pictures. And I came upon some photographs of my very first trip to Disney World. And I thought, wow, over the years, I've been to Disney World several times. And there's got to be a spiritual lesson in there somewhere, right? That's my job, is to find the spiritual lesson in everything. And so today I want to talk about Disney World. So, first of all, raise your hand if you've been to the Magic Kingdom at Disney World. Okay, most people, most people. So there's a couple, but for the most part, we've been there. And for those of you who haven't, hopefully I will describe it in such a way that you will feel like you have been there. I doubt it. But at any rate, so I want to talk about 4 different times I went to Disney World, and I want to talk about them from a different perspective. So the first time I went to Disney World was in 1972. In 1972, I was either 7 or 8, depending on what day I went that summer, but I know I went the summer of 72. And Disney World opened shortly before that, so it was really, really, really young amusement park. And so I remember that I rode different rides. I have memories of riding like the Dumbo elephant ride and Mr. Toad's Wild Ride and Snow White, and I remember the Pirates of the Caribbean, and I remember the Hall of Presidents too. And at that time, there were different levels of rides, right? You got a book of tickets, and some were A tickets, B tickets, or whatever. E tickets were the best, and those were really the rides you wanted to go on. But I was too short to ride on most of the E ticket rides, and so my older brother, got the E ticket, more of the E tickets, and then my parents obviously got the E ticket rides, not me. But I also learned in that first visit that there are different lands at Disney World. There's Fantasyland and Adventureland and Tomorrowland and Frontierland, and if I missed some, that's okay. I didn't really do a whole lot of Disney research for the talk today, but because I really wanted to speak from my own experience. But what happened in that very first trip to Disney World is my parents drove the bus. My parents decided what we would ride, what we wouldn't ride, how much time we would spend here, how much time we would spend there, what we would eat, and all of that. And so my dad's energy, which, as I have shared, he was a bit of a mad person, and so he was angry a lot that day. I remember that too. So that was my very first trip to Disney World. My second trip to Disney World, no, it wasn't my second trip, but the second one I want to talk about, 10 years later, when I'm 18, I'm a senior in high school. Now, in between those 10 years, we moved from Colorado to Florida. So I went to high school here in North Florida. And if you went to high school here, maybe if you're old like me, you remember they used to do, and they may still do it, I don't know, something called grad night. Did anybody else get to go to grad? Oh, yay. So no, I'm not the only one. So grad night was when they let the senior class of different high schools come on a Friday night, Saturday night, I don't know, at night. After the park closed, the seniors got to take over the park, stay all night long at the park. And so you get to ride the rides you want to ride, and there are concerts, and there are things specially created for the senior class. Wow, was that fun. And I took my best friend who was a junior because she couldn't go, so we went together. She got to go 2 times to grad night because I allowed her to come with me. So at any rate, pretty much that night, I got to pick my own rides. I got to pick my rides. I picked all the e-ticket rides. They weren't even e-tickets anymore, but I picked all the good ones. The Space Mountain, I remember riding Space Mountain over and over. The bigger the thrill, the better, right? That's what I wanted to do. And we even appreciated some of the concerts and shows that night too, because you can't appreciate shows until you're a grown-up, right? Kids just, no, Mom, please, no, not Country Bear Jamboree, no, please, no, right? So I got to choose what I rode and how many times I rode it. And I'll tell you, if I threw up on the ride when I was a kid, I didn't want to get on that again. Like, I knew better than to get on that. So the third time I want to talk about, I went to Disney World as a parent, taking my daughter. And so my daughter's 5 when we first took her to Disney World. And I did just what my parents did. I taught her what to like about Disney World, right? I said, oh, this ride's good. Don't get on that one. That'll make you throw up. Made me throw up. It's going to make you throw up. So I was just trying to guide her into having a great experience with the characters and with all the things that are available at Disney World. I got to choose. I got to choose for her. But the fourth time is the interesting time for me. So the fourth experience I had with Disney World was when I was way grown. I was a corporate executive, and we were having a training meeting on the Disney property, not at the Magic Kingdom. It was held offsite. And here's how that went. They took us into a training room, and the Disney people taught us about Disney World. They taught us the principles upon which Disney World was founded. They taught us about the difference between what happens on stage versus what happens off stage. Do I have any Disney cast members? Anybody ever work at Disney? Okay, good. So I don't have to fact check here, but this is what I remember. So there's on stage and off stage, and there's lots of rules for the people that work at Disney that the minute you go on stage, there are lots of rules about who you can be, what you can say, all of that kind of stuff. And then off stage, you can relax. You can take the headpiece off. You relax. You can smoke. You can whatever off stage you can do that you can't do on stage. And they taught us a lot of different things and told us secret information about Disney, and I'll share just a few of those. But what they did next was they put us on a little tram, and they took us over to the Magic Kingdom, and they took us backstage. And I got to see what's behind the scenes of Disney World. And then they took us on stage and they told us, watch. Remember all the things we taught you in the classroom. I want you to watch for examples of it as we walk through. Because they weren't going to teach us as they walked through. We were like a tour going through. And we got to ride a couple rides too. But the most interesting part was underneath Disney World, there's a whole system of tunnels. And we got to go through those tunnels, and those tunnels go under the rides, and some of the mechanics of the rides are underneath the ground. And it allows cast members to suddenly pop up in the middle, like it's like a back door in a shop or whatever. Then all of a sudden, behind that is an elevator or whatever where you can go down and up, and you can just appear different places. That's how, Peter Pan gets to that spot, but he wasn't there a minute ago. How did he get there? He went underground and popped up there. So that was fascinating too. And then some of the little secret things that we were told to look at is underneath the ground, they have this system where they can pipe smells into the park. So when you come into the park, what's the smell you first smell? Does anybody know? Popcorn. Popcorn is the first smell. And Walt Disney knew that when people smelled and ate popcorn, they were being entertained. So he wants you to be greeted by this big smell of popcorn, and they have the popcorn trucks there, and 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't want popcorn, but some people do, and they eat popcorn right then. And then, so that's piped in to the smell in the air. Guess what the smell is they pipe in as you're leaving? Fresh baked chocolate chip cookies. They pipe that smell into the air. The bakery's there on Main Street, and you can get your stuff, and it's piped in. So it's nostalgia and home. You're headed home. So they want you to go home happy, right? And then there was one other thing I thought was hysterical. They measure things in terms of hot dogs. So the length of a hot dog. So Walt Disney figured out it takes him 25 steps to eat a hot dog. But from every food vendor, there is a trash can 25 steps away from, and I know it's really crazy. So all these little details. So I want to draw a parallel between the life we live, and the Magic Kingdom. So what I realized that is such a great spiritual lesson in that there are different lands that we all experience in life. So one of them is the land of people and relationships. Maybe we would call that fantasy land. I'm not quite sure. But there's a land that we all navigate around people and relationships. There's also a land that we navigate around prosperity and career, right? That's a land. Maybe that's adventure land, I don't know. And then there's a land that we all walk through and experience around our health, our emotional health, our physical health. Maybe that's frontier land, where the beginning is of the foundation of who we are is our health. And then there's the Tomorrowland of creativity. How well do we create, and how well do we set goals for ourselves, and all of that kind of stuff. And guess what? Inside every land that we experience as human beings, there are rides. There are universal experiences that are symbolized, in my mind, by the rides that are in each land. And guess what? We all get to choose whether we ride the rides or not. And we take our individual perspectives on to the ride. You know, because think about, let's just take the spinning cups, which is a little narfy for me. I can't ride them. But there are people that absolutely love them. They stand in a long line to get spun in a circle till they throw up. I can't quite understand it. But everybody has their own relationship and their own outcome of every ride in the land. And every one of us gets to choose which rides we ride. And which some of them are chosen for us. Sometimes our parents say, this is going to be a lot of fun, get on this ride. And we get on the ride and we're like, this is not fun. This is not fun at all. Or sometimes our parents say, don't ride that ride. And we get on that ride and we have the best time of our lives because we are individuals and we have choice. And what matters is our mindset when we get on the ride. If we're already dreading it, or we're already thinking it's not going to be good, we're probably not going to have a very good time, right? But if somebody else has told us it's a great time, we go in with that open experience and we have a better ride. Because we're always either trying to prove them right or wrong. Whoever told us about the ride, we're either saying, yep, you're right, or no, I'm going to have a different experience. And we learn to avoid what we fear. And we learn to look forward to what we enjoy and ride again the rides that we enjoy. And some rides are thrilling, and some rides make you throw up, right? Some rides we want to do over and over again, and others we just avoid. We avoid, even for the first time. Oh, no, that doesn't even look good to me. I don't want to get onto that. And some of them are absolutely e-ticket rides. Some of them are really, really, really life-changing, some of the rides that we ride. But we get to decide. We get to decide which rides that we want to ride. And when you think about those 4 areas of your life, some of the universal experiences that are available to them, in them, right? So in the world of relationships, you know, there's the universal experience of betrayal and abandonment, right? And feeling like I've been left. And those are rides that we've all been on, but we don't ever want to get on them again. Right? There's also, though, the rides of falling in love and how beautiful that is, and friendship and how beautiful that is. We want to ride those rides again and again. And sometimes we know what's on the ride and sometimes we don't. But here's another thing that's really, really important about Disney World is that you can experience it randomly or you can experience it intentionally. You know, some families or some groups or some individuals, they know they have a list of their rides and they're going to go and they map it all out. They're the ones that get those fast queue things and they know what time they're going to be doing everything. And then there are other people that just kind of meander and go, oh, this looks fun. Let's do this. Let's do that. That's life too. That's life too. And I've learned for myself that I can get more done if I have a plan. Right? I can get more done if I have some intentionality about what I'm wanting to create with this day of my life. And the other thing I will tell you about Disney World is there is all the fun, all the love, all the life, all the light, all the magic is available to everyone alike. It's all there. Who experiences it and who doesn't experience it is about mindset. You can either go in there with your children and have a blast, or you can go in there with your children and struggle all day long. It's a matter of choice. It's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of surrendering to the experience you are having on every ride. On every ride, it's helpful to just surrender to what's available to you on that ride and not wish it was different, not wish the hill wasn't that high or the jumping thing wasn't that scary or whatever. Instead, surrender to it and you enjoy it more. So learning about spirituality for me was like the Behind the Looking Glass tour. When I went behind the Looking Glass tour, when I went on that tour, I learned more about how Disney World works and how to have a better time when I'm there, right? Spirituality is like that too. Learning this, principles and the science of mind for me was like that behind the scenes tour of life. You learn about what principles life is built on. What was it intended to be? We learn that here. We learn the difference between what is visible, what is on stage of life, and what is off stage, what is underneath everything that's happening in my life. What's underneath that? Spirituality helps me explore that concept. I'm not saying Walt Disney was God, although he was a God being, and he was certainly the God of that creative company. You are the God of your life. You are the designer. You're the imaginer of your life. You decide what your rules are, how far your trash can is from your hot dog stand. You get to decide what smells greet you every day and send you home every day. Do you do it with that level of intentionality or not? I don't know, but you're the Walt Disney of your life. And class, when you come to class, the reason I wanted to do this talk today, because I wanted to talk about the class that's starting on Wednesday, because what we do in that class, what we do in every class, is we get on a tram and we go into our minds about our lives. We go into those different lands. This particular class, we're going to go to Frontier Land of Health, and we're going to go to Fantasy Land of Relationships, and we're going to go to Adventure Land of Prosperity, and we're going to look around. We're going to look around at what rides you've been on. What rides do you want to get on again? What rides are you avoiding out of fear? Because there's a spiritual way of riding every ride, and there's a human way of riding every ride. And class invites you to look at that and say, wow, am I enjoying this ride as much as I can? What intentionality do I have around this ride? What do I need to surrender to on this ride? Or how do I get off this ride? We look at that too. And we encourage you, in class, we encourage you to choose what rides you want to ride in the future. We look at where you are right now, but where do you want to be? What do you want your experience to be like? And what is your mind full of in your life right now, in those areas of your life? Are you full of fear? Are you full of joy? Are you full of love? Where are you? And that's what we kind of take a look at. Because you'll never look at your life the same way again. I know if you've been in class before, you just coming here, you can't pretend. I can't pretend now that I go to Disney World, I can't pretend that I don't know that popcorn's piped in. I can't pretend that anymore, right? Because once you know something, you can't unknow it. And that's what spirituality and learning about spirituality is about, is knowing more than you know right now. And you can't ever unknow it, right? I notice now in life, when I'm moving through life, I notice, what are my choices? What choices have I made around this? What's my mindset around this? And those are the things that I know that I can't ever unknow. So I invite you to stick around. I invite you to stick around here, because on Sundays, I'm kind of giving you a behind the looking glass tour a little bit. You know, I'm teaching you about the park of life every Sunday. But if you really want to take a deeper look at the own lands of your life, come to class. But I will warn you, you got to keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times. And you got to watch out for the smell of popcorn and cookies, because that happens around here too a little bit. But I want to close with a quote by Walt Disney himself. Somehow I can't believe that there are any heights that can't be scaled by a man who knows the secrets of making dreams come true. This special secret, it seems to me, can be summarized in 4 C's. They are curiosity, confidence, courage, and constancy. And I would add one more C, and that is choice. I think we learn here the power of choice. And it's a small world after all. So I hope to see you in class. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you.